Hi guys, welcome back to Nyx Reads. Thank you so much for watching. Please feel free to subscribe if you love watching bookish content. And with that, hello from Colombia. I am not in my usual setting. I am here on vacation with my boyfriend in Cartagena. I'm very excited. I've never been to Latin or South America, so this is a very special trip for me. And I'm speaking into a voice note in my phone just in case the audio on the camera doesn't work because there's a lot of seagull, ocean, and also car and city noises around me. In this vlog, I want to find at least one 5-star read book. The first book I'm reading for this vlog is Love by the Book by Jessica George. Her debut novel, Mame, was my favorite book in 2025, so you can imagine my excitement when she announced her newest release. This new contemporary fiction read promises us a love story, but not a romantic one between lovers, but a love story about platonic love between females. Our setting is contemporary London, and we're following almost 30-year-old Remy. She is a Black woman living her life in London with her 3 best friends, and she becomes a successful debut novelist through her novel about friendship. It's called These 4 Friends. Remy is the girlfriend we all want and long for. She absolutely loves her friends. She makes them a priority in her life as if they were romantic partners, and to read that is just absolutely beautiful and engrossing. But her life goes a very different way when these 3 friends suddenly seem to leave her. Remy experiences real loneliness. At the same time, we're following a woman named Simone, about the same age. She's a school teacher and she loves her family above anything else. She herself doesn't really have friends because her little sister is enough and she kind of likes to keep to herself. So I started this book on the plane yesterday and I am already 60% of the way into it. And judging by the speed I'm reading it, you can probably tell that I'm already loving it. I don't know at this point if it's going to be 5 stars, if I'm being honest, because I do have some points that I think could have been worked on or could have gone differently, but I don't know if it's going to stay this way. I think it's too early to say that this could not be a 5-star. So far, this book has been a breath of fresh air because we're not reading about people in their late 20s, almost in their 30s, finding love. It's really about friendship. Especially around this age, I think a lot of people and a lot of literature media is really obsessed with the idea of finding your partner for life, romantic love. So far, that I'm into this book, there's not even a romance subplot, which I'm really enjoying. I didn't realize that this book is going to throw some serious curveballs in their respective lives. Twists, I don't know if you can call them, but developments in their life that I really did not see coming at all. So I thought this is going to be more lighthearted fun, to be honest. And then I was like, okay, I'm sad. This is serious and I have to know what's going to happen next with these characters because they are in for some big surprises, some real drama. I really like Jessica George's writing style so far. Her writing is also very fresh. I think that she delivers enough details for us to picture the world and be interested in their day-to-day lives because she gives us details about delicious food, what they're wearing, but without it being too info-dumpy because I think the risk of being too detailed is books sometimes sound like fan fiction. I'll talk to you guys later, probably when I finish this book, and let's see if this actually is a 5-star in the end. Before I go back down, I wanted to show you the view from our little boutique hotel in Getsemani. It is so pretty. Even on the drive here, the ocean already looked so inviting. It's so hot. I'm not complaining. I love this because it's right now snowing and very, very cold in Canada. So this is just great. It is a few days later. I'm once again using my phone for my microphone because, as you can see, I have switched locations. I am in my bikini and I'm sitting in front of the ocean. I don't know if you can tell from the background. I hear the waves crashing into the shore and I think I'm in paradise. This is so nice. We're on Rosario Islands, and this is a group of islands about an hour away by boat from Cartagena. And I've never heard of these islands before. I don't think there's so much on the map for like island vacation, but it is so dreamy. I have finished Love by the Book by Jessica George, and I'm giving it a final rating of 4 of 5 stars. So It's unfortunately not quite a 5-star read, but it doesn't mean that I didn't extremely enjoy it. I stand by absolutely everything that I said in the first clip. Another thing that I want to add on the love list is the dialogues. I love how they are written, and there's a lot of them. I think that they feel very natural, and what I absolutely adore is with how much introspect and self-reflection they talk to each other. There's something magical about two women just having a conversation about their feelings and being completely honest and open with each other. That's definitely a huge plus. Jessica George knows how to write pages long of dialogues, and it's so great to read. There's 2 reasons why I didn't give this book a full 5-star. The first one is that there's a book within a book element, which I think is not a surprise. This is also not a spoiler, just because Remy is a writer, so there are sections in there where the main character is writing herself. The thing that I have about books within books, and this is just personal preference, is that, in my opinion, in order for them to work in a book, the book within the book has to have a voice change. To me, it cannot sound exactly like the rest of the book. And unfortunately, in this one, it really blends together. So it's almost as if Remy has the same narrative voice as Jessica George has. And I think it's almost like a missed opportunity, because I think it's a place where the author can really show their craft in being able to change the narrative voice. Then the other 1/2-star I subtracted is one of the main conflict points in this book. To keep it vague, Remy does something in the course of the book that it's just very, very clear from the beginning that this is going to be a conflict point towards the end of the story that they then have to work through. I saw it coming from a while away, and while the argumentation in the book on why she does it and how she does it makes technically total sense, like I cannot blame the characters or even Jessica George for them taking this path. It was this kind of trope of conflict that I just don't enjoy. So again, this comes down to personal preference, so I couldn't fully love it. But all in all, it was still a very successful 4-star read, and I am so excited to pick up any other book that Jessica George will bring out. I think this author has now become an auto-buy for me. So now I have moved on to The Only One Left by Riley Sager, hoping that this is going to be a 5-star read. I read the first quarter of the book yesterday, and I couldn't help thinking the entire time I was reading the setup that it fairly sounds a lot like the setup of The Housemaid by Freida McFadden. And I feel like once you think of that, it doesn't really let you go. The points that it has in common with The Housemaid are that our main character, Kit, is this young woman who has demons in her past, or it's very heavily implied that she comes with her own baggage. So that's what they have in common. Then also she takes this job as a caretaker in this mansion. Where it goes in a different direction is that this person that she works for is actually a very old lady who had multiple strokes, so she can't even speak anymore. The only thing that she can move is her left arm. Her name is Lenora Hope, and Lenora Hope is very well known because she allegedly killed her entire family, so her 2 parents and her sister, when she was 17 years old. She has become this kind of urban legend, but nobody really knows what happened that night until Kit arrives and they start bonding, and she suddenly tells Kit that she wants to tell her whole story. She wants to tell her the truth by using a typewriter because she can't speak anymore. I'm honestly really excited for this one because the setup sounds very cool, and I honestly can't wait to see what the twists and turns of this book are going to be. It is 2 days later from my last check-in. We've been having such a great time here, and we used the paddles, we went snorkeling. Yesterday night we did a plankton excursion, so we were picked up by a boat and then we were dropped off somewhere and we got into the water, and when you move you can see the plankton actually like lighting up in the water, which is pretty cool. I unfortunately didn't manage to catch it on camera, so you'll just have to take my word for it. My main reason for checking in with you is that I finished The Only One Left, and I'm giving it a final score of 3.75, so a little less than the book before. I really did like the setting of this book. So you have this mansion that is crumbling because it is on this cliff that is eroding, and that theme kind of follows you throughout the book, and it kind of also shows how Lenora's family was crumbling at the time right before the murder. So those two POVs put together, I think, make for a very cool scenery. I don't think that the writing was inviting us to feel very close to Kit, because it was more descriptive rather than, I think, emotional. I do think that she was a pretty smart main character, because if there's one thing I dislike in mysteries, is that when the main characters just cannot put clues together and just seem way too gullible, but not in this case. I think she was actually pretty observant. I do think she is, Lenora, the most chilling character in this book, just by the descriptions of how she communicates with her very expressive eyes. Even though she is paralyzed and she can only move one of her hands, there's something very eerie about her, and just like Kit, I wasn't sure if we can trust her or not. The elements that I didn't love about this book, one thing is the forced relatableness. There are a lot of moments where Kit feels like she can understand Lenora because they went through hardships with their families, both of them, but to me it felt a little forced. In my opinion, it was used as a device for Kit staying in this mansion and not quitting her job, even though there's a lot of reasons for her to just leave that place. I'll just finish filming this clip. It's still running.
Oh, oops.
Overall, we do get a very satisfying ending. All of our questions get answered, but I think the writer took it one twist too far, and it kind of went into being a bit unbelievable, or too unbelievable. And yes, we do get everything with kind of a ribbon on top, but I can't help but feel that it is a little anticlimactic. I would have wished for a more dramatic development, let's say, or solution to the whole mystery. And 3.0 is, I think, not doing the book justice, because I think it was plotted out well overall. So yeah, somewhere between 3.5 and 3.75. We still haven't found our 5-star read. So on to the next book, and the next one is going to be The Possession of Alba Diaz. Hello again, once more a few days later. I am now sitting in a hotel room, so the cold beachy background is gone, unfortunately. I'm still in a beach town. I'm in Lima in Peru. So I have left Cartagena a few days ago. Unfortunately, we had a really good time there. My favorite part of that stay was definitely the few days that we had on Rosario Islands. It was heavenly. I'm here for a few days, and I basically started eating my way through the city right away yesterday night when I landed. And so far, so good. I have my Inca Cola here, which tastes similar to Cola Romana, I think it was called, the red drink from Colombia. I'm about 25% into the book, and I had a very cool surprise while I was reading this book. I started it while I was still in Cartagena. So one of the chapters starts out with the following sentence. 55 days brought them to a port called Cartagena, where the fleet split in two. One of the things we learned while we were there is that Cartagena de Indias was the port to what they called Nueva España, to basically land there by port. It's a primary port, and then explore, or invade, I should say, the rest of the country. So that was a funny coincidence. Then in a later chapter, there's a reference to Santa Rosa de Lima. It's a reference to a Peruvian saint from Lima, where I'm right now. So I don't know, maybe I'm just meant to be on this travel, because there are signs from the universe. So I've been introduced to our main character, Alba. Alba is already a great main character. She is smart, and she knows what kind of fate awaits her being a woman that was adopted into the family, and she knows that her parents basically adopted her as, you know, like a good, something to be traded in for later in life. So she wants to take her fate in her own hands. She does that partly through securing her engagement to Carlos. Already, I am reminded why I absolutely love Isabel Cañas' writing. She is just so good in creating an atmosphere. This author really knows how to set the tone. Whenever she describes a setting, it's like you are standing in the courtyard with the characters, and you can feel the breeze that is flowing over their skin. The tension, the emotions in the room are always so palpable when you read her books. On top of that, our main character is very likable so far, so that makes it easy to get into the story. And also her fiancé Carlos is actually very charismatically described. As promised in the book description, their households just moved from Zacatecas, the silver city in Mexico, to an isolated mansion close to a mine. That house is in a very rough terrain with mountains, and again, when you're reading it, you can feel the cold and the chill. Her writing is so immersive. I'm loving it so far. I think from now on I'm gonna move a bit slower through my books, just because now I have a bunch of activities lined up, so it's not just me lying on the beach anymore for all hours of the day. So talk to you in a bit, and I might have left Lima at that point. Jumping to future editing me, I kind of want to pretend like I never read this book, like I never read The Possession of Alba Diaz, because I've absolutely loved all the other books that I read by this author, but this one I'm tempted right now to give something like a 3 or 3.5 stars, but I think it's my fault. Instead of reading this book in one go, I read sometimes just 1 page, 2 pages here and there in between, almost falling asleep because I was so tired. Over the course of, I think, a month it took me to finish this 300-page book. So needless to say, I lost interest in the middle of it. I wasn't very much getting into the story, and I feel like I wasn't connecting with the characters anymore, didn't love how the story progressed, but it also might just be because I was reading it so choppy. So technically I'm landing at a 3 stars, but I will be putting this book on my must reread list once a little bit of time has passed, because I need to give this book a second chance. Otherwise I would feel so bad. This would be really dragging down my average reading for Isabel Cañas, and I cannot accept that. I need to admit that it was not the right place or the right time to start this book. Hi friends, it's been a hot minute. I think the last time I talked to you I was in Lima, Peru, and now I'm currently sitting at the airport in Punta Cana. I did not visit the Dominican Republic, but I flew back from Argentina, from Buenos Aires today, and I have a layover here, and I figured it's a great time to update you. I am quite excited because I spotted a Taco Bell here and a Cinnabon, which we don't have where I live. So this is what I'm having for lunch right now. Since I last spoke to you, I have hiked to Machu Picchu with camping. I have also visited Bolivia, Chile, and Argentina. So I've been on the go for the past 4 weeks straight since I talked to you. So you can guess that I didn't have a lot of downtime for reading. But in this clip, I want to talk to you about 2 other books that I started in the meantime. I started reading The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, which was also on my spring TBR. But there's another book that I'm pretty sure I'm going to finish in, let's say, 2 hours, and it has major 5-star potential. It is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. This is a romance novel. I know, very unlike me. This is a second chance romance, and so far I cannot fault it whatsoever. The setting is pretty cool. So it's about 2 people who are super passionate about their jobs and very, very good at it. So Elliot, is a florist who owns a flower shop that he used to work in with his dad. Then we have Amma, who started her own wedding planning business, and she is under a lot of pressure right now because she just got some huge clients in, and reluctantly she has to work with Elliot. So we know from flashbacks that they have crossed paths before, and there was definitely something between them, but they're currently not on speaking terms. The writing is so addictive. I have not been able to put this book down, so if I was not sleeping on the plane, I was just plainly reading. The character work is great. I think their personalities and also their passions are so well fleshed out. So far, it's a 5-star. And I'm 60% of the way into it, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish it in the next few hours, either during my wait or on my next plane. Thanks for listening to my update. Sorry if I sound majorly congested, because I am, and I'll probably talk to you when I'm back home to update you on Forget Me Not. Forget Me Not is a 5-star read, and it is the book that ends this vlog. I loved it. I enjoyed it so much. I couldn't put it down. And this is coming from a person who doesn't read that much romance. I get secondhand embarrassment very fast, but I just couldn't find any faults with this one. The characters were great, super passionate about their jobs. They were well fleshed out. And I think that the second chance element in there was also done well, because if the person does something in the past that is, to me, unforgivable, and then they get back together, that's just a big red flag. But in this case, I think the way that their relationship progressed and the reasons why they in the end find back to each other, I mean, It's a romance. This is not a spoiler, hopefully. I think makes a lot of sense, and I really can get behind that. I think the level of spice was good. It wasn't too much or too little. There was good build up in it and enough flesh and bones of the actual story so you don't feel like you're just reading erotica. Plus the fact that their jobs revolve around weddings is a pretty fun topic to read about in a romance. So if you're looking for a nice romance to read in the summer, then definitely put this one on your TBR. It's a fast read and just a lot of fun and a lot of heart. And I also finished The God of the Woods by Liz Moore, by the way. This ended up being a 4-star, so anyways, that book would have not ended this vlog. I think that book is a wonderful story for the journey, not necessarily for the end. If you want to hear more, stay tuned for my reading wrap-up, which will be probably my next video. But yeah, we read until we found a 5-star. It's Julie Soto's Forget Me Not. It's a romance. Who would have thought? It wasn't even on my spring TBR. It was just a random book that suddenly became available as an ebook on my Libby app. So I think that's a great win. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like watching reading vlogs, and let me know in the comments if you enjoy this type of reading vlog content. And if you just want to leave me an emoji and no comment, why don't you leave me a little sun, because sun's out, summer's here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.